Good evening, everybody. Good evening indeed, and welcome to another race meeting and another round of the Chaz Draycott Media European Touring Car Championship. We're back with this phenomenal series, which has been very, very enjoyable so far this year, for another great night of racing at one of the finest racing circuits in the world, Autodromo Internazionale Enzo Edino Ferrari, if you say it with an accent, or Imola, if you're British and want to say it short and sweet. My name is obviously Chaz Draycott. Probably sick of me by now, aren't you? Now, I must admit, I'm going to flex right now, straight off the back of the intro. I've been here, and I love it, and it's absolutely unbelievable to be at Imola. On the right-hand side of the shots there, you can see some windows at the back of the grandstands. That's actually where the commentary boxes are. It's a bit of an odd commentary position, because you can see 2/5 of naff all, to coin a phrase by David Addison. But we have cars out on track, and we have a 15-car field at the moment by the look of it. But boy, is it good to be here. So, some talking points then. We have a new driver joining us tonight. My old mate James Leggett is back with us. Now, he will show us car 256 for this evening, because his number that we set in the league did not get matched up in time. We put James in cross-development because he got recommended to the championship by Craig Schill, who is also racing for cross-development. But funnily enough, James has picked the exact same number of the driver that he's replacing, Craig Cameron. So James will be in for the last two race meetings of the season. We have Victor Oliveira back with us for tonight in car 69. He's going to be helping Maciej Sakovic, current championship leader at Blade Speed Esports, to try and score some points, especially as this man's teammate, Stephen King, is not available for this evening. We'll take a look at the championship standings as they are at the moment, though, and as mentioned earlier, it is Maciej Sakovic leading the way. 251 points to the 239 of Jack Johns. I don't quite think the championship can be sewn up tonight. You can get a maximum of 55 points from a race meeting, so Maciej will have to work very hard if he is going to clinch the title this evening. He could, however, make sure that it's only him and Jack Johns that are in the fight, if he basically stays a little bit further away and ahead of Donny Alfa Henriksen this evening. In the Teams Championship, I don't have the graphic to hand, unfortunately. I've had some ongoing issues with getting the Teams Championship standing graphic to work, but Team Mood Springs are 168 points ahead of Blade Speed Esports. So, put simply, if they outscore Blade Speed Esports tonight, then basically they've won the championship. I think it works out that you can get 99 points from a race meeting in the Teams Championship. So really, Blade Speed Esports need to outscore them by about 70 points minimum. So I don't know if that's really going to happen. John Bailiff is back with us tonight as well, which is good to see. He's in the Vertex Esports machine, car 22. He's been very, very quick this season, has John. Currently sits 9th in the championship on 107 points. He's tied with Mats Borg Anderson, who is fastest again at the moment. Needs to slow down, that boy, to be honest. But everybody just getting their final moments of practice in for now around this very, very difficult circuit. It's not an easy place to learn, really. Here's Imola. Tim Cox has found out the hard way by the look of it. A bit of damage on the front of his car. Jack Johns is just coming up to Piratella at the top of the hill. But yeah, as mentioned, I had the absolute pleasure of visiting this incredible circuit in July with Clio Cup Europe. I was there commentating for the weekend and can tell you it is absolutely stunning. It was the hottest weather I've ever witnessed, though, when I landed in Italy at Bologna Airport and had my little Fiat 500 that I was renting for the weekend. It was 38 degrees Celsius, and it was absolutely unbelievably hot. But it really is an incredible place, and to see the flags and tributes and everything down at Tamburello, where we lost Ayrton Senna, is quite haunting, I must admit. But while it's a very narrow looking circuit, you really can't sort of drill home hard enough how wide it actually is. It is a very, very wide track when you stand on it. The curbs which we know are big, but honestly, when you've seen them in person, you'll realise they are absolutely monstrous curbs as well. But like I say, a wonderful place, and I really do hope that I get a chance to go back again. Here's John Roberts, another old mate of James Leggett. The pair of them racing together in the Kia some 7 or 8 years ago now. 2013 to 2014. That's where I met the pair of them. And it's great to see them back out on track together, and I thoroughly hope that James enjoys being part of the series. Michael Blake going well again at the moment in the Simortal car. He's side by side with Victor Oliveira, hoping to not have any shenanigans as they go into Rivazza at the bottom. Now we'll jump on board with Michael Blake for a sec and see if he'll be kind enough to take us on a lap around Imola. So you want to be careful on the power coming out of the final couple of corners. It's very easy to overdo it there and wash wide. Look at the speed of this Kia down the straight though. Up into 6th gear at nearly 230 kilometres an hour. Still flat. You have to put quite a lot of lock in to make sure you don't hit the grass, which Michael still does. Hard onto the brakes into Tamburello chicane. Michael's overcooked it, bounced all over the curbs, and he's going to abort that lap by the look of it. Into the barrier he goes, and he's actually propped the front of the car up, and it will not get going again, so that's him stuck. Mats Borg Andersen has gone through successfully though. Let's jump on board with Mats and see what he does through here. So that is Tamburello there. On the exit, hard on the power, don't get an incident point. Then you go down into the Villeneuve chicane. Again, very high speed chicane here, but difficult to get right, especially in a front wheel drive car. You can't spend too much time getting it settled, otherwise you've already overshot the corner. Here's Tosa. Very difficult hairpin. There's going to be a lot of sends down the inside into there tonight. Keep an eye on Jack Johns in particular. Hard on the power and up the hill towards Piratella. Through the right over the crest, the car will suddenly wheel spin and it goes light. They can look after the tyres over the course of the evening, but that is one of the places where they might have to just think about their throttle application. Down the hill towards Aqua Minerale. Again, double right-hander. You don't want to touch the grass on the brakes there. You don't want to hit those curbs too hard, and you also don't want to spin up the front wheels too much up the hill. It's incredibly difficult to get it right. Then to Variante Alta. You've already seen how little of a forgiving circuit this is, and look at the curbs there at Variante. Can't run out too wide, otherwise you'll get a slowdown penalty if you go all 4 wheels over the grass and over the AstroTurf at least, and the white lines. Down the hill into Rivazza. 2 left-handers, same name. Mats clips the grass a little bit, but it helps get the car turned in for the final corner. Hard on the power. And that was a lap around Autodromo Enzo Edino Ferrari. Again with the accent. You can see a big spread in the pace here actually. And it's not surprising, it's a long lap, nearly 2 minutes, and that was the fastest lap of the session so far by Mats Borg Andersen, a 151.355. Very good pace indeed. Another man that's always got good pace is Mark Woodhouse. It's good to see Mark continuing his charge through the series. He was actually on the receiving end of some contact at Monza, which jarred his wrist after the race. After the incident at the start of race 1, Stephen King thought that Mark was to blame, basically, and got a little bit of retaliation after the line, but Mark wasn't expecting it, still had his hand on the wheel, and it jarred his wrist, unfortunately. Stephen was disqualified from that race result, but then went on to score 12 points in race 2. He had a fantastic turnaround to his evening. Stephen, though, not here this evening due to other commitments, unfortunately, but as we always say, real life comes first in this thing, so we don't need to worry about that, but we wish him all the best and look forward to hopefully seeing him back on track for the final round of the season in 2 weeks' time at Circuit Barcelona, Catalonia. Look how much the curbs really upset these cars here. It is one of those circuits where you have to nail the apexes. You have to be so accurate around here, and the curbs can properly take it away from you. Now Maciej Sakovic is some 4 seconds off at the moment. At the bottom of the pile. I don't know if he's not really had much time to get much practice in recently as Maciej. That's why we didn't have him at one of the previous rounds of the season. I believe it was Hockenheimring, we didn't have Magic with us. So that's where the championship lead really sort of disappeared to Jack Johns. As you saw earlier in the graphics, Jack is some 12 points behind him now. So it is very, very close indeed. 25 points for a race win, 20 for second place, then it's 18, 16, 14, 12, 10. So 7th place still gets you 10 points, and then it's 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So as long as you finish in the top 16, you will score championship points. And we have 15 cars with us tonight, so all you'd need to do to get a championship point or two is finish, basically. Now Victor Oliveira has 6 championship points to his name. He's going to be hoping to grab a couple more and get into those double digits. James Leggett, of course, will be out to score his first points as soon as possible. Great to have Kieran Dempsey back with us again tonight. His teammate Carl Jacquelet, unfortunately, leaving the series a few race meetings ago. And that is the end of the session. Now, I must say at this point, if there is anybody watching, by the way, that does fancy getting into the championship, we do have a couple of free seats going for the final round of the season, just to help boost numbers. Your points will count towards the championship, but we just ask that if you are getting involved, and of course if you do get near the front of the field and you have a chance to sort of interfere with championship protagonists, depending on what the situation is into the last round, we just ask that you don't do that, basically. Just don't mess about with the championship and you'll be fine. But yeah, if you are looking to get a seat for the final round of the championship in 2 weeks' time in the CDM ETCC at Circuit Barcelona, Catalonia, then let me know. Get in touch and we'll be able to sort something out for you. We have 2 seats at Team Euromat, we have a seat at Simortal, Vertex Esports, 5-A-Day Racing, Abruzzi Raceware and Derrington Francis. We must say as well, Morgan Butler unfortunately having to drop the championship as well due to other commitments, and it's a real shame, but at the end of the day, like I've said, real life comes first, and Morgan's got some really strong other commitments, to be fair, with Pure Sims and the World GT Championship, so I tip my hat to him and hope that he does well. But that does mean that there is a seat as Ben Bennyworth's teammate in the Abruzzi Raceware car. Donny Henriksen, who we were just looking at for a moment there, currently sits 3rd in the championship with 3 race wins to his name. He took a race win at the Hockenheimring, and then he took one at Monza 2 weeks ago. So Donny has placed himself very well. He's the 2nd most winningest driver in the championship so far. Maciej Sakovic has 4 race wins. He's not won a race for a long time as Maciej. He won the very first 2 races of the season. Then he won the sprint race at Zandvoort. Then the sprint race at Zolder. And it's been 9 races since there that Maciej has not won. He has had 3 second place finishes in that time and another podium to go with it, so his consistent point scoring is obviously what keeps him up there in the championship, but that early sort of boost that he got from those 4 race victories is what put him there in the first place, as we see Donny Henriksen pushing very hard through the final corner. Now this is the man you want to keep an eye on in qualifying. Mats Borg Andersen has been an absolute superstar in quali this season. The only man he hasn't scored more points than from qualifying, because don't forget you get 5 points for pole, then 4, 3, 2 and 1 for positions in the top 5. The only man he hasn't outscored in that respect is Jack Johns, who currently has 21 points just from qualifying alone. Apologies, I believe we had a bit of a blip there for a second. Lost some frames and all sorts. Anyone that knows me well enough now will know that my internet has been rather fickle again in the hot weather. But Mats Borg Andersen, like I say, after coming into the championship, secured pole position twice in a row in his first and second meetings with us. So we'll keep an eye out and see what he can do this time round. Who's putting in purple sectors? Magic Sakovic has done a purple sector too. So maybe a bit of sandbagging in practice by Magic. Adam Wright currently fastest with a 2:09.09. Keep our eye on Magic. Looks like he's gone a bit hot into Ravazza. He might have got away with that, you know. Looks nice and smooth. Can he go for pole position? We've got final sectors purple coming in from Michael Blake. And there you go. Michael Blake goes fastest at 1:51.388. Great lap by Michael Blake. Sakovic goes third at 1:51.7. It's a purple sector 3 for Mark Woodhouse. And a purple sector 1 for John Roberts, actually. Now does John improve his time to 1:52.7, so he's nearly a second off Mats Borg Anderson. Michael Blake then currently fastest at the moment. Kieran Dempsey has gone off the road in avoidance, I think. Just trying to make sure he's not in anybody's way as he makes his way around. Apparently after practice, Jack Johns put in the chat, Mats Borg Anderson is too quick, add weight. Well, it's fight and talk. But Mats Borg Anderson is very, very quick indeed. We all know that. He's currently 4th. And we all know that he can do better than that. Now, where is Donny Henriksen going to be? That's a serious question, because Donny hasn't been the hottest when it comes to qualifying this season. He's only actually scored 1 point from qualifying all season, which meant he qualified 5th once. And that was at Zolder. So it shows that Donny is often one of the drivers that sort of comes through the field from a bit further down to get his results. And for anyone that doesn't know or hasn't seen the championship before, the top 12 in qualifying get reversed for the sprint race, meaning that drivers need to show that they can work their way through the order. The incentive to do so and go for pole is 5 championship points. Then you get 4 for second place, 3 for third, and 2 for fourth place, and then 1 for 5th position, as Donny Henriksen puts a time in, putting him 6th on the grid at the moment. Just looking down the order to see who hasn't put a time in yet. John Bailiff goes up to 6th place. We wait for Jack Johns to put a time in. Adam Wright goes over the line. Does he improve? Bennyworth puts his time in. No improvement by Adam Wright. I think actually he went off the circuit and has just come back on. That was his first quick lap since going off. Where is Jack Johns in all of this? He is on a fast lap now. Doesn't sound so aggressive there, does it? Into Tosa. You can see the sun keeps going in here, actually, so the track may be getting cooler and warmer as the session goes on. We know how sensitive it can be on iRacing. But like I've mentioned, the top 12 on the grid get reversed, so drivers have to prove they can fight their way through and be quick, and then the grid for the feature race, which is almost half an hour long, is the result from race 1. Keep our eye on Jack Johns then as he goes into Variante Alta. Nice bit of curb hop in there. Big hop on the second part of it. I hope that doesn't give him an incident point there. An incident point basically invalidating your lap time in qualifying on iRacing. Hard onto the brakes into Ravazza. He's the only man other than Victor Oliveira to set a time so far. No, sorry, that hasn't set a time so far. I think Victor is just sitting qualifying out and he's going to start from the back of the pack. But here comes Jack Johns. There's been no purple sectors from him so far. Where does that put him? 5th on the grid at the moment, half a second down. So Michael Blake's sitting pretty at the moment. He's on an outlap right now. And you'll see a lot of the cars tonight get sort of buckled front ends. They'll have a lot of damage on the front of them. by the end of the evening, not just from contact with other cars, but from the curbs. Especially down there at Variante Alta, the likes of the Villeneuve chicane as well, getting a good smacking. And of course, the chicane down at Tamburello. Now, Michael Blake, Mark Woodhouse and Maciej Sakovic all raced for Team Mad on iRacing outside of this championship. These two came together at Monza in a way that I thought was a bit daft by Mark, but it turns out Michael had run out of fuel on his way to the line. Oh my goodness me, that was Mats Borg Andersen joining onto the circuit. But Michael said it's absolutely fine. At the time I speculated whether Mark would keep his position that he finished in as a result. And I had a quick chat with Michael and he said, nope, don't give him a penalty. I just ran out of fuel and we misjudged it. He was going to try and push me across the line and it didn't work. And you could say that again. Oh, it was Woodhouse. That didn't work for Woodhouse. Off the circuit he goes. What happened there? So through the Villeneuve chicane, through the left, through the right. Oh, he just lets it hit the wall. Very, very strange. Well, there's about a tenth and a half between him and Michael Blake, who are both going back out of the pits again to try and work on this. Maciej Sakovic is coming down into Ruvatsa. I think that's Donny Henriksen in front of him. No, it's Ben Bennyworth. Apologies. Apparently black and orange makes red in my head. Oh, Maciej suffers some big understeer midway through the corner, but he's going to have a nice tow down the straight. This is going to help him extend his championship lead if he qualifies ahead of Jack Johns, but then in the race he'll be behind him on the grid. Does it improve? He does improve, but he does not gain a position from it. James Leggett at the moment is only a couple of tenths away from being reversed onto pole position on his debut in the championship. Him and Craig Schill separated by 3 tenths, and they're both 3 tenths off the back of Tim Cox. Or at least James is, sorry. Well, it's been a long old time since James has driven this car, let me tell you that for free. So, fair play to him for still cracking on. We didn't manage to get him a suit in time. You'll see that Craig Schill also doesn't have a suit because they didn't do suits. I did them for the British Boring Car Championship. I had team branded suits to match the suits that the drivers wore back in the day as we mimicked the 1999 British Touring Car Championship. But I forgot that I didn't do suits for this series, so when I talk about James not having a suit, I'm talking absolute rubbish. So not long to go now then until the session is over. We have 3.5 minutes. And we look at Kieran Dempsey, the man that put it on pole position at pre-season testing, the man that led every race and won the race at pre-season testing. I should say he led every lap of the race and won the race by quite a long shot as whoa, Tim Cox has a big old moment across the gravel there. The iRacing UK man certainly learning if the Kia is a good rally car at this point, and again. But Kieran Dempsey's a very, very interesting one because he's not had a clean season run through, to be honest. He's 8th now. He gained 2 places in the championship at Monza. Didn't have too bad a result there. But Mats Borg Andersen was the one that really had a good one, taking a race win, of course, in the feature race. He gained 6 positions in the championship at Monza. Mark Woodhouse gained 4. And Craig Schill actually gained 4 as well. Craig moved up to 15th place in the championship. But Michael Blake still sits fastest at the moment. Zach Gould in the chat as well. Good to see you, mate. Michael going through Ratco Minerale. Mark Woodhouse trying to work with him at the moment, which is good to see. As Mats Borg Andersen has gone fastest. There you go. That's how you do it. I didn't see that at first. But Mats Borg Andersen goes quickest. He's done it again. The man that is an absolute master of qualifying has displaced everybody else, and he's stopped Dempsey getting a point, has he? No, actually, he was already ahead of Dempsey, wasn't he? Now out of Tosa comes Jack Johns. He'll be sort of happy to only lose 1 point to Majek in the championship if he's going to lose any. But he needs to make sure that he's at least within 55 points of him going into the final race meeting. Otherwise he doesn't stand a mathematical chance. And to be honest, even if you went into the final meeting 50 points behind, I don't think you'd overturn that with the consistency and the pace of Majek Sakovic. Jack should get this lap done, but he's only had a personal best in Sector 1 so far. Everyone else, as you can see in the pit lane. Jack attacking those curbs very hard indeed. Mats is saying that Jack's going to get him here. No, mate, he's not. Hard onto the brakes into Rivazza. He's pushing hard though, is Jack. He's a very quick racer in this Kia. If you haven't seen Jack before, look for The Racing Line on YouTube. He had his podcast the other day as well. He broadcasts series and runs the Jetta TDI Cup. Gets across the line just in time. Does improve, but he's 8 thousandths behind Majek Sakovic, who will beat him by just 1 point in qualifying. So, we have a grid then for the first race of the night, and it's Tim Cox on pole position alongside Ben Bennyworth. John Roberts and Donny Henriksen make up row 2. Adam Wright and John Bailiff, that's a very exciting row 3. Kieran Dempsey lines up 7th ahead of Jack Johns, who gets 1 point for his qualifying effort there. Majek Sakovic will get 2 points, Mark Woodhouse 3. Michael Blake will get 4 points, and Mats Borg Anderson qualifies fastest once again. Behind them, the very unlucky duo there, James Leggett and Craig Schill, just missing out on reverse grid pole, and Victor Oliveira will start from the back of the grid in 15th place. So the grid forming up now then, a couple of drivers we're just waiting on. Tim Cox, Donny Henriksen, Majek Sakovic and Craig Schill. It's going to be 7 laps, the first race of the night. Second race of the night will be 14. Doesn't sound like many, but around here where it's nearly 2 minutes a lap, that's going to be a long old evening. Jesper Grieve in the chat saying, "Go Donny." Well, 4th on the grid. That's a good place to be. Adam Wright, John Bailiff and a number of others around him all very quick, but Donny's for some reason not on the grid yet. There he is. Pops into place. And round 17 of the Chaz Draycott Media European Touring Car Championship from Imola is underway. And look at that fantastic start by Kieran Dempsey off the line. Donny Henriksen sneaks through the middle. Beautiful stuff from him. And Donny Henriksen straight off the bat goes up into the lead of the race. John Bailiff's gone down the inside as well. He's gained 4 places before they even get to Tamburello. Tim Cox has gone in deep though and somehow gets the lead back and actually stops it for Tamburello. How on earth has he done that? I really do not have a clue how he's done that. Majek Sakovic has lost 4 places. Adam Wright has lost 4 as well. I think maybe there was a bit of contact, not just between those two, but maybe for some others as well. Michael Blake weaving around like mad. There's contact in front. People just need to chill out through the Villeneuve chicane. But what a start by Donny Henriksen. That was absolutely amazing stuff. Tim Cox did a great job to get back up there. John Bailiff just trying to hold off the other John Roberts. Donny Henriksen doing some grass tracking. We will come back and have a look at this, but look at the grouping going on here. Adam Wright, 4 places down. Mark Woodhouse also 4 places down. It's going to be more than that now for Adam Wright, as that's the second time. That's the second time in a few race meetings that Mark Woodhouse has binned his teammate off. Oh, we've got a car around. Oh, John Roberts is very sideways. Not sure if he got any help there. But John does what we're going to see a lot of times over the course of the evening there. Loses it on the way into Acqua Minerale. But Tim Cox, what a job he's doing at the moment at the front. He got that lead back very, very well off the start. Ben Bennyworth is trying to hold off Jack Johns and Mats Borg Anderson, who's gained 5 places already from where he started. And Adam Wright is already in the pit lane. I'm absolutely gutted for Adam because Mark has taken him off twice this season. The two of them are supposed to be teammates. Big send from Jack Johns. We expect nothing less. Jack doing a good job to get down the inside of Ben Bennyworth. Ben trying to give him the room. And now they're all bunching up together. Where does Mats Borg Anderson go here? Hopefully not to the right of Ben Bennyworth. Can't go into the middle. There's nobody there. Oh, there's no room there anyway. They are screaming their way down. 2 by 2. Down to Tamburello. Tim Cox has held onto the lead ahead of Donny Henriksen. Fastest lap of the race, of course, for the race leader. Jack Johns gets through. Nicely done. Mats Borg Anderson down the inside of Mark Woodhouse. Oh, a bit of a touch on the way out. Maciej Sakovic is going to try and sneak through. Around the outside he goes. Keep it tidy, boys. Oh, Maciej just saying, look, there's no overlap, mate. Give it up. Michael Blake, he hasn't had a very clean start either. He's ahead of the 2 cross-development cars. Tim Cox is off. Oh, no. Race leader is off the road. Craig Schill's gone off as well. Oh, and now a few others as well. What's happened here? Oh, he's just lost it on his own on the way into the Villeneuve chicane. Oh, Tim. Tim. Mats Borg Anderson and Maciej Sakovic are still fighting, but that means Donny Henriksen leads the race from John Bailiff and Kieran Dempsey. I want to just go back quickly and have a look at the start. Oh no, Mats Borg Anderson's off. He's off as well. It's all kicking off, boys. It is all kicking off. Let's just have a look at what happened to Maciej Sakovic off the start. Watch the car in front as well, Kieran Dempsey, and you'll see Donny Henriksen on the right-hand side. Oh, Maciej just bogged down like mad. Got absolutely swallowed up. We'll see if there were any shenanigans in front now. That's Mark Woodhouse and Mats Borg Anderson on the right. 3 wide into there. Oh, Michael moves over a little bit. To be fair, it's all very, very tidy. Maciej giving plenty of room to the cross-development car on his right-hand side. Michael Blake looking around, trying to find space. It all checks up a little bit at the Villeneuve chicane. Oh, and Donny Henriksen's dropping down the order. I think Donny had a slowdown penalty or something. Oh, there's been big drama. Mats Borg Anderson, this is where he went off. Oh, he's tried to carry it around the outside of Maciej and it's not worked. This is where Craig Schill and Victor Oliveira went off. Oh, Craig's gone very sideways. Oh, and around he goes. Where's Victor? Oh, Victor's lost it on the way down to Agua Minerale. Tim Cox and Michael Blake have been off as well. Michael Blake involved in something before that, I think. I think this was all the shenanigans further down the order. So, oh, Victor goes off. Oh, gets clipped. And then Craig goes into him. Victor had a nightmare and it's broken the car. Michael and Blake are back out. Whew. So after all that shuffling, Mark Woodhouse has now got a slowdown penalty and is losing a position to Sakovic. But it's John Bailiff that leads the race. He's won 1 race so far this season. He currently sits 9th in the championship. And to be honest, Zach, I think you're right. Nobody does fancy finishing this race. Tim Cox certainly doesn't. He's gone off again at the Villeneuve chicane. That's the second time he's done that. The man that was leading the race and took the lead back so well as well. Unfortunately now having a nightmare. Victor Oliveira is out of the race by the look of it. So this is your race leader, John Bailiff, Kieran Dempsey in second place, and Jack Johns, and then Maciej Sakovic, and then Mark Woodhouse. All of them have gained 5 places from where they started. Jack Johns does the fastest lap of the race as well in a bit of clear air, so he's flying. Let's have a look at what happened to Donny Henriksen, because everybody seemed to just pass him all of a sudden. He'd already lost the lead at this point. So this is how it went to pot for Donny. Oh, I think he's had a slowdown penalty on the way out of Variante Alta, sorry. I don't think he served it in time. So then he's had to serve it going onto the straight. A side-by-side for second place, Jack Johns and Kieran Dempsey. These two don't want to give an absolute millimetre away to one another. Jack Johns is later on the brakes, puts it down the inside. He knows that he needs to do this. He needs to push forward and try to get results for the championship. He needs to try and get as many points over Maciej as he can, and he's up into second place. Great stuff from Jack. Nice, clean stuff from Kieran. And then Maciej Sakovic still in 4th place. But he's having to defend at the moment from Mark Woodhouse. Gorgeous shot there as we come up the hill and you get all the trees and the sunlight breaking through. You can guarantee these two are going to fight. He's going to fight as well. Mats Borg Anderson down the inside of John Roberts. Matt's using a lot of that chicane. Gets a great run out of it, but I'm wondering whether that's a slow down penalty or not. Certainly doesn't look like it. It looks like more of a speed up penalty than anything. We've had a purple sector 4 by Michael Blake, who is unfortunately now down in 11th position after his incident. This is close though from Mats Borg Anderson. Nope. I should learn by now, as soon as the cars have got any damage, that's it. Fantastic speed of these cars as they scream their way down the straight. 2-litre turbocharged engines, nearly 375 horsepower. John Roberts went late on the brakes and he's flicked it out of the way. Nice considerate driving by John, to be fair. But he won't be pleased with himself for that one. Still the battle goes on ahead though. Mats Borg Anderson now ahead of Ben Bennyworth. There's that curb at Villeneuve. Very, very big curb indeed. Now John Bailiff, who is currently your race leader, he won the feature race at Spa-Francorchamps back in the middle of July. It was a great, great drive by John. Kept it nice and calm in his pit stop, didn't overdo it. And he currently leads the race from Jack Johns and Kieran Dempsey. Two of the most potent drivers in this. Kieran's not disappeared, has he? To be fair. Oh, Donny Henriksen's gone off. Oh, now Ben Bennyworth's off as well. Two of them having a bit of an argy-bargy moment, maybe, as they came down the hill. As I was saying, Kieran Dempsey's not disappearing. If anything, Majek and Mark are catching up to him. Interesting to see how this works out for them with just a couple of laps left to go. Into Rivazza. Kieran's got in a bit deep. Hits Jack. That's not going to help him. Now Majek's going to try and come through. Is he going to get that done? I do not think so. Or is he? He's carried the pace. Majek carries the pace, and Kieran going a little bit late onto the brakes into there has cost Jack some championship points over Majek. Now, if he wants to do him a favour, one of 5 a day, then he needs to fight with Majek and try and hold him up, because that will not be on the agenda for Jack Johns. And now Mark Woodhouse is down the inside of Kieran. Runs a little bit deep. Kieran stays ahead. But these literally are the two championship fighters right now. Maciej Sakovic, who we're on board with, the Polish driver of Blade Speed Esports and Team Mad, won the very first 2 races this season. He has 4 race wins to his name. Jack Johns has only won 1 race this season at the Nürburgring. And if he finishes ahead of him here, he will gain just 2 points on him in the championship, and it will bring the advantage that Maciej has down to 10 with 3 races left to go. The gap at one point was as big as 59 points. Maciej didn't make it to the Hockenheimring, so had to just concede with the fact that Jack had a really good meeting and got some points back on him, but it spiced the championship up. And Mark Woodhouse and Kieran Dempsey have dropped off now, so Jack is left to his own devices to try and defend against Maciej. The suddenly decides to turn on. Look at this attack by Maciej. That car looks so secure. Someone else that looks secure is John Bailiff off in the distance. He's only got 1 more lap to go to secure his 2nd race victory of the season. Started 6th on the grid. Oh, as Maciej's tried to go around the outside of Jack, and he's made contact with him. Tries to put his nose back down the inside. Now what we don't need here, boys, is contact, otherwise it'll be an absolute eruption of emotions. Oh, Jack, he's tempting fate there, running across the nose of him. Now Maciej's on the right-hand side. That'll be good for Tamburello, because it'll put you on the outside of the first part, but the inside of the second part. What sort of room's Jack going to give him? Oh, he's giving him enough. Oh, Maciej tries to turn in. There's a bit of a bump, and Jack's got it. Is Mark going to try and take advantage of Maciej now as well? This is exactly what Jack Johns wants. He wants to take advantage of cars behind. Kieran Dempsey's dropped away a little bit. But Mark Woodhouse could be the spoiler in the pack here, but not with lines like that, he won't. Oh, it's a bit of a nightmare, isn't it? You can feel the understeer. You can bet Magic will be fired up after that one. A little bit of contact, nothing untoward if you ask me from Jack. Just Magic tried to turn in and squeeze him to the apex, and it didn't work out. But John Bailiff, what a star. What a star. He's not been with us for 2 race meetings. He missed both races at the Hockenheim Ring. He missed both races at Monza. And it looks like we're going to have him back in the best way possible, to be honest. Here at Imola. Up to the top of the hill they go then. Magic just looks to the right. Tries to put some pressure on Jack. I think there was a bit of contact. He's pushed him over the chicane. Oh, boys. Why? He's going to at least try and turn Jack over. He's blown his engine. Magic's blown his engine. Jack will have his arms in the air. He'll be absolutely seething about that one. He won't be the only one. But John Bailiff, in good news, comes round the final corner. And it's going to be race victory number 2 of the season for car 22. What a fantastic drive by John Bailiff. Across the line to take the win at Imola. Mark Woodhouse, great drive up to 2nd place from 8th. And Kieran Dempsey gets a podium ahead of Matsborg Anderson, who's going to be in 4th place. John Roberts will take 5th. Ben Bennyworth will eventually come across the line in 6th. James Leggett on his debut will be 7th. Magic Sakovic is going to crawl across the line. Jack Johns shows his dismay and gets 8th. Magic will eventually finish 10th. Michael Blake will be next up in 11th. Well, John Bailiff, he'll be over the moon with that one, but Jack Johns will be absolutely fuming with what went on there. Let's have another look at it. So that's after the incident actually had gone on. See, Magic tried to at least push him back over. So Magic sort of, I don't know, the secondary contact was hard to call. Very, very hard to call. So let's just slow it down then. So Magic does look to the inside. I don't think he hits him. Well, I think he might have done actually. Jack gets a little bit sideways. Magic takes the curb. Jack decides to straighten up the steering, not hit the curb, but the car's in the air, bouncing over the curb. He can't do anything about it. Bounces back into Magic. The two of them then hit the wall. But it just bounces Jack's car over. And then Magic at least tries to push him back over, at which point it blows his engine. But wow. Wow, oh wow. That was certainly spicy, because it was the 2 championship protagonists going for that one. John Bailiff takes the race win, though, from Mark Woodhouse, and Kieran Dempsey gets another podium. Matsborg Anderson finishes 4th ahead of John Roberts, who gets a great result in 5th, ahead of Ben Bennyworth 6th. James Leggett's first result of the season is 7th. Very well done to him. Jack Johns eventually gets 8th position, ahead of Donny Henriksen and Magic Sakovic, so Jack will gain 2 points on Magic in the standings there, or at least 1 after the difference in qualifying points. Magic Sakovic behind Donny Henriksen, 9th and 10th. Michael Blake 11th. Craig Schill and Tim Cox are classified, albeit almost a lap down. And then Victor Oliveira and Adam Wright did not finish the race. Now you join us for the Craig Schill show, as Craig will, I'm sure, be ready to make his way out. Or will he? I don't think he will at the moment. But that was very, very dramatic there between Magic and Jack. It's not how we wanted to see it happen. Magic tried to put the pressure on, admittedly made a mistake, and just went a little bit too hot onto the brakes, in my opinion. They tried to correct it and work on it, but the way that Jack's car just bounced off the wall was just the worst. You know, the way it just slowly went over. Magic at least tried to right him, but wow. And, oh, John Roberts didn't get hit, as he says in the YouTube chat. A massive moth flew in the window, landed on the screen and scared the absolute beep out of him. Now, is that Craig Shill ready to go back out? He is sitting at the end of the pit lane. I think he's doing a practice start. Oh, no, he's decided to go back into the garage. Now, Mark Woodhouse is apparently typing in the Discord. I'm going to be on Drama Central here because for the second time this season, he's apologised to Adam Wright, basically. That's the second time this season he's taken his teammate out of the race. Adam, understandably, will be very frustrated with that one. I understand, though, we're not really looking at moving cars at the moment, although we'll look at Tim Cox, the man who started on pole position for that first race of the night. Unfortunately, he had his moment on the way into Villeneuve, lost the back of the car, and that was that. So what I'm going to do, just bear with me as I restart that tune. I'm just going to take a quick break for a second. It's absolutely boiling in this room. It's still some 24 degrees here and a lot hotter than that in my room. I think it's about 35 degrees in my room in the office, especially with all the soundproof foam. It doesn't help. But I will be back with you in about 5 minutes, and then we will get the sort of preamble ready for the feature race. Round 18 of the CDM ETCC is coming right up. Hello again, everybody. Chaz Draycott here for the Chaz Draycott Media European Touring Car Championship, and I hope you're all having a fantastic evening so far. We've obviously seen the drama from the first race. The two championship protagonists fighting for podium positions end up throwing away a bucket load of points each and finishing 8th and 10th in that race. Maciej Sakovic just getting into the back of Jack Johns, both of them going across the chicane in a way that means that Jack couldn't save it, then made secondary contact with Maciej, and they were both then pretty much out of the running. Jack managed to get flipped back over thanks to Maciej, but that blew Maciej's engine and meant that he could only limp to the line as, Adam Wright's had a big old moment there in Agua Minerale. So, the warm-up session is about to come to an end in just a minute, and then we'll have the 14-lap feature race where drivers must make a mandatory pit stop and take at least 2 tyres. We've had drivers all season getting caught out by pit lane speed limits, by putting in too much fuel, not enough fuel. This is a real test, this second race. Not just that drivers can keep their pace up, but of course work out their own fuel and make sure that they can sort of choreograph a pit stop properly. And one man that we need to keep an eye on in that is James Leggett, to see whether he knows even whether that's a thing or not. James only 17 thousandths behind Tim Cox in practice at the moment. Craig Schill, fastest of the 3 cars that have put in times in warm-up at least, and the session is over, so the cars will disappear in just a moment. I'd say about 3, 2, 1. No, maybe I was a second out or so. Anyway, grid for race 2. Finish and result of race 1. John Bailiff on pole position then, ahead of Mark Woodhouse, with Kieran Dempsey and Max Borg-Anderson on row 2. John Roberts will start 5th ahead of Ben Bennyworth, with James Leggett alongside Jack Johns on row 4. Donny Henriksen is 9th with Maciej Sakovic alongside him. Watch out for Michael Blake starting from 11th with Craig Schill in 12th. Then we'll have Tim Cox 13th ahead of Victor Oliveira, and Adam Wright starting from the back of the grid. Like I said though, keep an eye on Michael Blake back there in the Simultal car, the Day-Glow yellowy green machine. Look at the beautiful reflection on the road surface there. Michael is very, very quick, and he's had some very good feature races from starting further down the order. So he's certainly one to keep an eye on here. Victor Oliveira is not taking the start, I'm afraid, so it's going to be lights out in just a moment, and round 18 of the Chaz Draycott Media European Touring Car Championship is underway. And John Roberts has not got going, and piling into the back of him is Donny Henriksen, and I think Michael Blake was involved in that as well. Maciej Sakovic might have been. Jack Johns has gained 3 places. I think it was James Leggett that was caught up in it. John Bailiff leads, then Max Borg-Anderson and Kieran Dempsey side by side. Mark Woodhouse has lost 2 places so far. Got his name completely wrong there. Victor Oliveira has started. No, he's not started at all. He's not even started from the pit lane. But that was an absolute nightmare for John Roberts. Not a clue what happened. He's managed to carry on, but it's Donny Henriksen with damage. That's going to take him completely out of the championship fight, I'm afraid. His season's campaign is going to be all over. Michael Blake's off the road. No, Michael Blake, the man that I tipped to be going really well for this one. Is he just going to clip the gravel? Oh, he has. It's his own mistake, and he's binned it. And he's still sat there now. He's probably just screaming at something. But John Bailiff holds his race lead. Max Borg-Anderson 2nd place. Then it's Kieran Dempsey. That's a very wide line by John Bailiff there, using all of the road. Sun going down here. We might even have headlights by the end of this race. Now look at that. Kieran Dempsey and Mark Woodhouse side by side as well. Into the chicane they go. Then it's Jack Johns. Oh, Jack Johns actually getting ahead of Kieran Dempsey as well. So maybe Kieran getting a slowdown penalty. Ben Bennyworth is under pressure from Maciej Sakovic. Kieran Dempsey still going slowly by the look of it. He's had some sort of almighty slowdown or even a throttle issue. The car just didn't sound like it had any revs. No, he knows he's got a problem there. Back up to pace he goes, and back up to pace. Actually, no, he's still going slowly. Oh, and he's coming in. Oh, Kieran Dempsey's night ends early then. This is your top three across the line. Mark Woodhouse right behind Mats Borg Anderson and John Bailiff. Who's going to go where? These cars wash around a lot at high speed, so they need to be very careful. Hard onto the brakes. Mats holds on to second place. Jack Johns is going to be trying to chase him down. That was Adam Wright going past Tim Cox in P7. Adam starting from the back of the grid in 15th. He's up 8 places already. Now let's have a look at that start from his point of view. Craig Schill's just gone off the circuit. John Roberts is going to go absolutely nowhere in front. Adam dips the clutch, gets loads of wheel spin. There is the contact with Donny Henriksen. Michael Blake has to get out of it. There's James Leggett. There's Craig Schill on the right. Such a shame that that contact happened. And Schill is back on the road. But this is your lead battle. Mark Woodhouse is now up into second place. Let's have a quick look at how he did that. Hopefully very, very quickly. Oh, he's got a fantastic run out of Tamburello. And he just goes further over than Mats does. Down the inside into the Villeneuve chicane. Great stuff from Mark Woodhouse. Second place is his. But Anderson's coming back at him straight away. Mats doesn't want to let him get away with that. He's going to try and come over further than Mark did. Needs to be careful moving around on one another. 14 laps this race, though, so they've got a lot of time to make moves and try and undercut each other in the pits. Don't forget, we do have pit stops. But unfortunately, this reduced grid, meaning that as soon as you get a couple of retirements, it does get very, very thin on the ground. But these drivers just need to finish these races to get points. We still have 13 of them running. Kieran Dempsey, the last in the list, I should say. How's Sakovic getting on right behind Ben Bennyworth? He has a bit of a wiggle. Look at that gorgeous sky. Fantastic looking sim, isn't it? iRacing, eh? But now Magic doesn't quite have the run on Ben Bennyworth that he wanted, but this is the run that Mark Woodhouse wanted on the lead. He needs to get off the grass before he gets on the brakes. Looks like to me he's got a bit deep. Or has he? Does he get it start? Mark Woodhouse round the outside of the first part of the chicane. Inside for the second part, outside for the third part, but he's going to be able to carry the pace if he stays around the outside for the Villeneuve chicane. This will be the race lead in beautiful fashion. Jack Johns coming through as well, trying to get down the inside of Mats Borg Anderson. Needs to be careful. Is Mark Woodhouse really going to get the lead like this? Fantastic racing from him and John Bailiff. John stays to the inside. Awesome defensive work from John. Awesome attacking work from Mark Woodhouse. They squeeze each other to the inside at Tosa. Still side by side as they go back up the hill. Mark's just eked his nose in front. It's changed over on the timing screen. Here's John later on the brakes. Into Piratella. Turns it in. Car gets a bit sideways. I think Magic has just got past Ben Bennyworth in the background. No, he's not. So still this. They're still side by side. Let's not hope. Well, let's hope that it doesn't end in tears. Let's not have it ended in tears now, boys. John Bailiff still hanging around the outside of Mark Woodhouse. Phenomenal racing. Absolutely phenomenal. Now, they're not going to go side by side through here, surely. Either that or they're going to hold each other up massively. John's later on the brakes. He's around the outside. Oh, he's overdone it. John's going to get slowed down to the century, but he had to try it. He had to try and keep that absolutely amazing racing going. But it means now that Mark Woodhouse leads the race. Jack Johns is second. Then it's Mats Borg Anderson. John Bailiff is now into the clutches of Ben Bennyworth and Magic Sakovic. Championship leader going into this. Ben's moved over on the brakes. Magic was late on the brakes. Ben just suddenly filtered back in front of him. Big, big hit. You've got to wonder whether that hurt the aero for Magic. Now, the difference there is because Ben's got the inside line. They do get a fast repair. That was absolutely unbelievable racing, though, from Woodhouse and from John Bailiff. It's a real shame it ended the way it did, but John's actually starting to catch back up with him now. Magic's just gone piling into the side of Ben Bennyworth. It was all a bit scrappy from Sakovic, I'm afraid. He's driving like a man that's desperate to make sure that he doesn't lose championship points to this guy, Jack Johns. Driving like a man possessed. Not in a good way. So Woodhouse doing great at the moment. He's got one race win to his name this season. As Mark Woodhouse, he won at Zolder in the very first race meeting he took part in. He won the feature race as well. After Magic Sakovic pretty much ran out of fuel on the final lap. Kieran Dempsey, by the way, has done 2 purple sectors on that previous lap, so Kieran's flying. This is the man at the moment. If he finishes in second place, he'll get 20 points. Magic Sakovic will get 6. which will mean the championship difference will be 5 points with one race meeting to go. We can only dream. We can only dream of a championship finale that close. But we keep our eyes on the prize. And so do these guys now. It's just about this race win. Ben Bennyworth under attack from Adam Wright. Adam's going very quickly indeed. He's had some good pace on him. Hard onto the brakes they go. Nothing working this time round. Now Jack Johns is under a very, very big pressure now from Mats Borg Andersen. Mats cares not for the championship. And to answer your question, no, Dempsey cannot pit that early. It has to be between 10 and 25 minutes in the race, basically, or the penultimate lap, in case that isn't 25 minutes, and we are not even 10 minutes in yet. So, no, Dempsey has pit outside of the window. Tim Cox has just had a bit of a moment, as John Roberts has overtaken him, but this lead battle carries on. Woodhouse ahead of Johns, ahead of Andersen, ahead of Bailiff, and then Sakovic is almost a second back from 4th position. Look at Johns closing on the brakes there. Jack has been good on the brakes all season. It's not been to everybody's taste with him down the inside on the brakes, but he's shown that he is very, very good at being late on the brakes, later than most. Up the hill they go. Looks to me like Woodhouse has got some very good pace on him at the moment. He's able to just put the car where he needs to, and it means that Jack Johns cannot match him. He's got the initial acceleration absolutely nailed out of that chicane, and it's really strong so far from Mark Woodhouse. Almost at the halfway point of the race. Milky in the chat, great to see you, mate. Hope you're well. Always a very good supporter of mine. Now, has Mats Borg Andersen got a run here? The Norwegian driver has been so quick all season, but just hasn't been getting the results. It looks like finally his luck has turned around somewhat. Through they go. You've just got to hope for his sake this doesn't end in tears for Jack Johns. Jack just needs to make sure he doesn't defend too hard. John Bailiff has just sent it at the scenery. And he's managed to come back on in the same place. He'll have a massive slowdown for it. He's going to get out of Majek's way. Or is he? Oh, his tyres will be absolutely knackered after that. He still holds on to 4th place somehow. Majek looks down the inside. No, he says. Not on your life. Go away. Well, that's broken it up. I was just about to say he's given points away to Majek Sakovic in the championship there. So Jack Johns will absolutely despise him for that. But no, if anything, he's just bridged the gap even more. I think Majek might have gone off the road, you know, because he apparently didn't go off the track. But yeah, I think Majek maybe just saw John was going that quickly and just tried to avoid it and went a bit wide himself, as Mark Woodhouse has had a nightmare out of the chicane. Mark Woodhouse has had a real horrible run, and Jack Johns takes the lead. What on earth happened there? Is Mats Borg Andersen going to go through as well, or is Jack going to hold this? With Mark in second, he is, and he's going to get a good run compared to the other two. Jack Johns, in an absolute dream scenario, takes the race lead. I think Majek's damage is potentially hurting him. Let's see what happened to Mark Woodhouse. We might have to go a little bit further back than this. Oh, he's just overcooked it. Overcooked it big time. Has to change down a gear, and that's that. I thought he might have got a slowdown penalty or something. You do have to feel for Majek right now, though, because of the hit with Ben Bennyworth earlier. He has got some damage on that car, and it isn't quite doing the same speeds. Look at that. Really isn't behaving itself, is it? He's doing a great job to stay sort of with these guys, though. This is the battle for the lead. Still Johns, who is clearly not as quick as Woodhouse. Mark Woodhouse absolutely on it. And don't forget, this is a fixed setup championship, so these guys all drive in the very same car. Mark tries it around the outside. Jack says no, but he's on the inside now for the second part of the Villeneuve chicane. Very nice awareness there by Woodhouse. He gets out of it to make sure it doesn't hit Jack. Jack is defending hard. He needs to pit soon because he can't defend like this and he can't lose time like this for very long. Mats Borg Anderson's internet letting him down a little bit there, so he's blinking in and out. He was making sure he stayed out of everybody's way. We've got Bennyworth and Cox in the pit lane. We'll bring up the pit stops on the left so you can see just who has stopped. There are a number of them that stopped very early on, though. Some of them pitted on lap 1, actually. So it's only John Roberts, Ben Bennyworth and Tim Cox that have had a legal pit stop in the race to count towards their mandatory stop before the end. But this top 5 is the top 5 in the race. More close racing from this championship again. Oh, Jack's taken a lot of curb. I think he got away with that. If you were Jack now, you need to pit. You need to make sure Mark isn't on your outside on the way out of Rivazza for one. And that's exactly where he's put him. Oh, it really does check up behind. Majek has to run wide and try and get out of the way of it. Oh, there's a hit there from Mats Borg Anderson on Mark Woodhouse. Now, who's going to do what? Jack's pitting. Jack is definitely pitting. Mark Woodhouse is as well. Everybody else carrying on through. So Mats Borg Anderson leads the race from John Bailiff and Majek Sakovic. It's currently John Roberts that is the highest placed driver that's pitted legally. Donny Henriksen, well, it does say he's had one pit stop. It doesn't count because it was right at the start to fix damage. And Mats Borg Anderson's had a moment. Mats Borg Anderson has lost the race lead. Let's see what happens here. Oh, he's just gone in too hot. Way too hot into the chicane. John Bailiff goes through. Majek Sakovic gets held up as well, though. So John is able to clear off. And the two very damaged Kias with the almost identical damage on the front. Both struggling. You've got to think that might be as a result of the contact that Matt's had with Mark Woodhouse coming out of the final corner. Let's see what the car's like for turning left, because that seems to be its problem. Yeah, look at that. He turns left and the back end tries to kill him a little bit. I know that we've got the setup done in a way that really does make the back end dance around on this car, so you can get some rotation at the front, but Matt's car is not behaving itself, is it? Looks like a real wrestling match. Every time he turns the wheel, he just gets a completely different amount of grip. Craig Schill is in the pit lane getting his tyres changed. Majek using all of the curb there to try and get as fast a lap as he can on the way in. Now Mark Woodhouse is ahead of Jack Johns, although he's just had an issue through the Villeneuve chicane, but Mark is ahead. This is not good news for Jack. Kieran Dempsey on his way into the pit lane. But this is not good news for Jack at all. Because this means if he... Actually, to be fair, it might even be good news because Mark was clearly quicker than him as the top three come into the pits. Mark was clearly quicker than him before. So, if anything, this is helping Jack Johns now because he's going to be getting some slipstream. He's got somebody that isn't slower than him holding him up. He's not having to defend from anybody. Mats Borg Anderson has, for some... Oh, he's just blinking in and out, I think. That's all it's doing. And Zach Gold making a very good point, saying he can't wait for the final race of the season when iRacing have changed the tyres. Yeah, they are changing the tyres on the Kia just before the final race of the season. So, good luck. It's going to be a very, very interesting finale. Now, where are these guys? John Bailiff's on his way out of the pit lane. Who's going to get moving next? It's a very slow stop by Majek Sakovic. Very slow stop by Majek Sakovic. John Bailiff's out, and Mats Borg Anderson with an 18.4 second pit stop. As the lights come on, Mats Borg Anderson has cleared off. Sakovic is flying down the order. This is big for the championship, this, because Jack Johns is third. So Jack Johns in third place on his way to 18 points. Sakovic down in 9th position would only get 8. So Jack would take the championship lead with this. Or would he actually? No, he wouldn't. He'd be 1 point behind him, so he needs to score more. Hurry up, Jack. Majek is back out now. It's a 1 minute and 8 second pit stop. Adam Wright also having a long pit stop. He's going with him now. Good to see Stephen King in the chat. Hope you're well, mate. Hope you're well indeed. But Mats Borg Anderson, looking at that, that's interesting how he's got 6 seconds less in the pits than everybody else. You do have to take 2 tyres, and I think we did see his car go up and down on the jacks, didn't we? Pretty sure it leant over to the left while he was in the pits. But now Jack Johns closes in on Mark Woodhouse. If he can get there, that position in front of him basically means that he'd lead the championship if Majek finishes where he is in 9th. And he's 30 seconds behind Tim Cox at the moment with 5 laps to go. So unless Tim makes a major mistake, Jack will be 1 point behind him in the championship. I think. Yes, he will. 1 point behind as we leave Imola with 1 race meeting left to go. So currently, it's Mark Woodhouse that stands between Jack and the championship lead. And Mark, well, he's Majek Sakovic's teammate at Team Mad outside of this championship. So, yeah. Don't you for a second think that Mark is going to make this easy. We've seen tonight as well that Mark is quicker. On that lap alone, he was 1.5 seconds quicker than Mats Borg Anderson. Now Tim Cox is chasing Ben Bennyworth here for 7th place. Car 7 trying to get P7. They've got Donny Henriksen just in front. But Donny still needs to pit. So really, Majek will finish 8th. Technically, which will be 1 extra point. So Jack will currently be 2 points behind him in the championship. And if he gets 1 more position ahead of him, then they'll be tied going into the last round. Oh my god. Right then, so the cars that we still need to have in the pits are Donny Henriksen. That's basically it now, so we can get rid of the pit stops on that side. Everybody except Donny Henriksen has pitted. Mats Borg Anderson, your race leader, with just over 4 laps to go here at Imola. The lights are on, everybody's home, and we're all enjoying the racing once again. Don't forget, if you are enjoying the racing, please do subscribe to Chaz Draycott Media, and please do like the video as well. Comment on all sorts of the stuff that I do post as well. It really, really does light my day up and make me a very happy boy. And I thoroughly hope that if you do watch any of my videos, any of my vlogs, I even did a vlog about the time I visited Imola as well. This track that we're on tonight, I've been there in person to cover the Clio Cup Europe. I was their commentator, still am, hopefully, as Woodhouse does the fastest lap of the race. So, game on now. Mark Woodhouse trading lap times with Jack Johns, 1:51.8, 1:52.0 for Jack Johns, 1:52.7 for Mats Borg Anderson. So Mark was a 9/10th. Mark has a 9/10th of a second advantage over him on that previous lap. There is the gap. This man knows what he's doing around here, doesn't he? Mark's been very quick all evening. As this continues, Donny still needs to pit. He may have had his pit stop early on, but it's not kosher, I'm afraid. So this battle for Ben Bennyworth is, it's not pointless, but he doesn't need it right now because he's got Tim Cox breathing down his neck, trying to take some championship points away from him. Purple Sector 4, by the way, by John Bailiff on that last lap. He still sits in 4th place. John Roberts is on for another 5th position at the moment. He's got 11 seconds ahead to John Bailiff. And then Donny Henriksen's 5.5 seconds behind him. So he's in a bit of no man's land. This is how the track looks at the moment. So you can see the race leaders here are actually starting to catch up with some lap traffic, which is Craig Schill in 13th place. Majek is car number 9, or at least the little silver number 9 over here on the map at the top. 4.5 seconds ahead of Adam Wright. But your leaders just making their way down the start-finish straight now. Mats Borg Anderson, Mark Woodhouse, and Jack Johns. Let's see what the lap times are. 52.1 for Mark, 52.9 for Mats Borg Anderson. 52.9 for Jack Johns as well. So Marky Mark, the stud muffin as he's known at Team Mad, the very handsome Mark Woodhouse, is really reeling the Norwegian driver in right now. And Ben Bennyworth, in his fight of trying to get past Donny Henriksen, has indeed come under pressure from Tim Cox. It's a great shot there as they go down towards Tamburello. Tim's later on the brakes, looks down the inside, but no. Thinks better of it. Oh, Donny Henriksen thinks better of being on the circuit. Goes straight over the chicane. Those two guys go past him. Cheap as chips, that one. And Ben Bennyworth now up into 6th position. That's where he started the race. John Roberts started 5th as well. So that shows you that they'll potentially finish in the same place as they finished in race 1. Now then. Race leader going very quick indeed. The master of qualifying this season pretty much. Mark Woodhouse finished race 1 in 2nd place, and he wants to finish race 2 in 2nd place. Well, no, he doesn't. He wants to win. And he has the potential of winning this. Just needs to be careful over them curbs, not to get a slowdown penalty. We're going to go on board. Doesn't look like he's got one there, does it? He's still on a mission. That seemed very sedate on the way into Rivazza, though. Yeah, that's a slowdown penalty if I've ever seen one. He is slowing a lot. So Jack Johns has the chance to move up on him now. The gap is coming down. Only by mere thousandths now, though. Wow, Jack takes a lot of curb there through the first chicane. One more lap to go after this one, though, for this man, Mats Borg Andersen. He's got Craig Schill just ahead of him on track. But after what's been a very, very tough season so far... Oh, hello. I shouldn't start jinxing it, should I, and talking about him winning. He's got another lap to complete after this. But the facts are that Mats won the feature race last time out at Monza 2 weeks ago. Oh, Tim Cox is off. Tim Cox has gone straight on. I'm flying back on the circuit, flipping heck him. And Donny Henriksen's got ahead of those two guys again now, but he hasn't had a pit stop in the pit window, so this will not count for Donny Henriksen, I'm afraid, as Ben Pennyworth goes in deep, flipping out. They were the closest cars on the track, and then behind them, in terms of who's closest, you've got these guys, Mark Woodhouse and Jack Johns just behind. You can see the sun's gone down now, no reflections over there. Hard onto the brakes into Variante Alta. So the Derrington Francis car, that's Craig Schill getting out of the way very politely. He's going to make sure that he gets out of the way of the other two coming through as well, is he? Yeah, he's pretty much stopped the car on the inside. Nice stuff by Craig. That's how you do it, everybody. But there's one more lap for Mats Borg Andersen to complete here at Imola in the late evening. Sun's going down, and the sun's going down on the championship. We've got one more race meeting after this in 2 weeks' time at Circuit Barcelona, Catalonia. Mats Borg Andersen starts the final lap of the race in the lead, 2 seconds clear of Mark Woodhouse and Jack Johns. Hello. That made me jump. Mark has got some serious pace, though. 0.7 of a second quicker than Andersen last time out. Actually, apologies. No, he wasn't. He was 0.3 slower. I thought he did a 53.3. And then Andersen did a 54.0. But no, Mats Borg Andersen was quicker than Mark. And Jack Johns was quicker than Mark as well. So, stuff what I just said about him having pace. Sakovic hasn't caught up to anybody yet, unfortunately. So it looks to me like he's going to have an 8th place finish, because Donny Henriksen will not be classified in 6th. Because he pitted on lap 1 of the race. But this man's done everything right so far. He started this race 4th on the grid. He qualified fastest again. Had a great run in the first race, starting 12th, gaining 8 places and finishing in 4th. And from 4th on the grid in this feature race, he has come through to take the lead. What's going to go on behind, though? Jack Johns Not looking to get down the inside of Mark Woodhouse. He's playing it safe now. He knows what championship points he's going to score if he stays there. Mats Borg Andersen has lost a couple of tenths on this final lap, but you can't blame him. He's just going to be taking it a bit easier on his way to the checkered flag. Hard onto the brakes once more into Rivatsa. Car pops and spits and bangs all the way down the gears. And round the final corner, let's get those clap emojis going in chat, everybody. For the Norwegian, Mats Borg Andersen takes his second race win of the season, his second feature race win on the bounce. Brilliant stuff for the Derrington Francis driver. Mark Woodhouse rounds out an excellent evening. 2 second places for him. Jack Johns does very well in... Oh, okay, Mark. All right, mate. Calm down. Jack Johns rounds out the podium ahead of John Bailiff. John Roberts is going to get 2 fifth-place finishes by the look of it. Let's just wait for John to make his way across the line so we can definitely confirm that. As I'm afraid, the next man to cross the line, he's not going to finish there. Donny Henriksen pitted on lap 1, and that is not kosher for your pit stop, I'm afraid, mate. Bennyworth, let's get his name right, finishes 7th ahead of Tim Cox in 8th. Maciej Sakovic is going to finish on the road in 9th, but he's going to be promoted, of course, up to 8th position at the end. Interesting that his pit stop lasted so long. Adam Wright is going to round out your top 10, and James Leggett will be 11th after not so much of a smooth race that time round. And it's Kieran Dempsey and Craig Schill who will round out the field. But Mats Borg Andersen taking his second win of the season in very deserving fashion. A great drive from him. The pit stop was very short indeed, though. 18 seconds compared to the 24-second minimum that everyone else was doing. So that may get looked at. And has he just run out of fuel? He has. Let's just keep an eye on this. Let's see when he runs out of fuel. That'll be why he's cut it so short. Look at the weaving there. Very, very happy bunny. And there you go. I think it's running out there, to be honest. Let's just shut the music up. Jack there celebrating with him. You've got to love that. Great camaraderie. Yeah, that's run out. That has run out. Corners after the checkered flag. That is what you call calculating your fuel to a T with Mats Borg Andersen. So we'll take a look at some results then. John Bailiff does not win the feature race. He won the first race, apologies. There you go, Mats Borg Andersen wins race 2. Mark Woodhouse second for the second time tonight. Jack Johns finishes in 3rd place after a very, very hard fight. John Bailiff is 4th. John Roberts, another 5th place. Plenty of good points for him tonight. Donny Henriksen, unfortunately, will not be classified in 6th place, so it's Ben Bennyworth 6th, ahead of Tim Cox in 7th, Maciej Sakovic in 8th, Adam Wright 9th, and James Leggett rounding out the top 10. Then it'll be Kieran Dempsey in 11th, ahead of Craig Schill, who was just 1 lap down, and then Michael Blake and Victor Oliveira not classified, with Donny Henriksen, unfortunately, not being counted in the end of that one. Well, now we've just got to wait, really, to see who we can speak to, and I tell you who we can speak to. Well, who better than race 2 winner, Mats Borg Andersen. Mats, you must be, again, much like you were last week, over the moon, mate. That was certainly a tough one, you've got to say.
Yeah, I kept it way too close on the fuel there. I had 0. Yeah, I managed to save a lot of fuel in the start, but I underfueled, so it was more stressful than needed to be, really.
I was going to say, you really cut it close across the line there, because your pit stop was obviously a lot shorter than everybody else's, but that's what the difference was at the end. I mean, it's quite a long lap around here, so you took quite the risk there, but it certainly paid off, mate.
Yeah, the car behind me, I don't know who finished behind me right now, was that Mark, I think, yeah?
Yeah.
he gained a lot of time on me, and then suddenly he was 1.5 seconds behind again. So I don't know if he got to slow down or needed to save more fuel also. Yeah, so that helped me a lot, because if he didn't get that slowdown, I would probably be third or second today.
Yeah, I was going to say he certainly had the pace, did Mark. I mean, even early on in that feature race when Jack Johns was trying to chase him down, and yourself as well in that fight with John Bailiff, it seemed like nobody could get near him, really. He just seemed to have so much more pace, even with the slipstream. Mark was very, very fast, but you were right in the thick of it all night, to be fair, in that top 5. It certainly looked very enjoyable, especially the first race coming through from a bit further down the order.
Yeah, the first race was too many mistakes, really, and then the brakes on these cars, Jesus, it's so unpredictable when they're going to stop. So hopefully the update now tomorrow with the tires, hopefully will fix that a little bit.
Well, fingers crossed. You never know what could happen with the final race meeting of the season, but 2 feature race wins on the bounce is a fantastic way to at least start to wrap up your season. Do you think that we can see a bit more of the same in the final round in 2 weeks?
Yeah, hopefully. This time the qualifying was also good, so if we keep this one going on to the next one, it's looking really good.
Certainly is, mate. You're not lying at all. But thank you very much tonight, Matt. Very well done again. And before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to give a quick shout out to?
Again, you, of course, for organizing this whole crazy thing, and Joachim from TC Motorsport, and Camilla, my fiance, for letting me do this thing.
And Joachim says, Daddy is proud.
That's good. Finally, he's proud of me. Finally.
Fantastic stuff. Great to speak to you, Matt. Very well done, mate. Really enjoyed watching that, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Cheers. Well, I'll tell you what, I am going to just drag him in for the sake of it, because I think it's worth having a good chat with him. James, mate, it's been a long time, but that looked like a bit of baptism of fire for the second race, but what a result in the first one. You must be chuffed with that.
Yeah, hello, Mr. Draycott. How are you? Yeah, that was good fun, considering I didn't know I was racing until about 3 o'clock this afternoon, maybe. Yeah, I don't never ran the track before, so yeah, it's quite good fun. Obviously the Kia, we've had some good times in the Kia before. It's a bit different now than it was back then.
Yeah,
it doesn't
actually
sound quite as much like a fridge.
Yeah, well, yeah, I was going to go for washing machine, so just a general white appliance will do the job, I think, there. But, Imola's not an easy track to get right either, is it? Especially in this car, because with it being front-wheel drive, it can just bounce off curbs like mad, can't it? Yeah,
as I found out at various points. Yeah, it was good fun. I was pleased with the first race, and then, just the second. John started in neutral rather than the first, and then I kind of dilly-dallied and went one side, and I think collected him and bent my steering. So 2 pits.
Yeah, indeed. Well, to be honest, I've just seen it in the Discord, but Kieran is mentioning that he thought that you guys were on the last lap. What can you tell us what happened there?
So he was right on my tail, coming through the what was to be the penultimate lap, or the end of the penultimate lap. And obviously the white flag came out, and I think he thought that was the checkered, so we crossed the line, and he dragged well back. He just let off.
Well, it saves you a couple of championship points at least, I suppose. But you've still had a really good start to the end of the season, effectively.
Yeah.
You've scored more points than a lot of drivers have in their sort of debut evenings, so it's a great way to at least sort of go into it and have a bit more fun with the Kia. Now, talk to me about Barcelona, Catalonia. What sort of experience do you have around there, and is it a track you enjoy?
The place. I hate the place. Yeah, it's one of those. I've never quite got on with. So we shall see. I'm going to put a bit of effort in. I'll put a bit of practice in maybe, and see how we go. But yeah, looking forward to it.
Well,
it's nice to be able to get involved in championships again.
I can imagine.
It's been a while.
I can imagine. It certainly has been a while. I mean, it was middle of 2014 when we first started chatting. So
yeah,
it's been a long old time since then, and here we are now, and still we're in the Kia.
Yeah.
Either way, mate.
We'll come back around.
Oh God, yeah. Fantastic to speak to you again, James. And of course, before we let you go, do you want to give anybody a quick shout out or anything?
To my beloved Amy, who went upstairs because I was making too much noise. My little nippers, who were very interested in what I was doing. The boosted motorsport boys, although we're not running as boosted motorsport, but it's always good fun. With them, Craig Schill as well for stitching me up and getting me in this.
Yes, Craig. Well,
we're
sorry, go on.
battling over who's the fastest Swindon Vok raw mail driver.
Love it, absolutely love it. Well done, James. It was great to have you back with us, and of course, I look forward to seeing you in the finale. But for now, have a great evening, and we'll see you again soon.
Cheers, bud.
Cheers, mate.
Ta-da.
Brilliant stuff. Really good friend of mine, James Leggett. I've known him for so long through iRacing, as you heard, about 2014. One of the very first people I met through iRacing as well. He's a really nice guy and always good to have a chat with. I will just quickly drag in the absolute lunatic that is Jack Johns, always caught up in the battles, always in the fights. Good for the championship tonight, Jack, but I imagine the first race left a bit of a sour taste.
Yeah, it did. It was yeah. I don't know how to explain that one. The battles are, like you said, are always there throughout the field. To be fair, actually, the sprint race was going really well. Like, regardless of position, in terms of the space given from a majority of the drivers, was absolutely fantastic. Like, there was some corners where I don't even think I meant to try and make a move. A gap appeared. And then I can't remember who it was now. It feels like ages ago because this track is insane. But there was a few side-by-side battles in the sprint that I just didn't think would happen, and they did. And then the feature, Matt's had an absolutely blinding pit stop. He gained like 7 seconds or something in that. And yeah, Mark jumped me in the pits as well. I think if how many rounds we got left? One.
Yeah, one more meeting.
So I think I just need to learn how to fuel save for that last round, and I might be able to grab one more win, but I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Well, on my very quick maths, very rough maths, you and Magic will be just 2 points apart going into the final race meeting now.
Which way round?
With Magic leading.
Oh.
But to be honest, that's only because Donny Henriksen pitted on the first lap in that race and then didn't pit again. So his demise of not being classified will put Magic up a place and mean that he finished 8th in that one, not 9th. So that's an extra 1 point, I think. Otherwise, it would have just been the 1. So if you would have been ahead of Mark, then you would be tied on points going into the finale.
Yeah,
but
it's looking close.
That's the margins we're dealing with. But bearing in mind the gap was 59 points, it's a hell of a comeback, mate. And to be honest, it's going to be a nerve-wracking finale, and we just hope for no more drama. But this is touring car racing. Drama just breeds more drama, so we'll have to see. Either way, very well done tonight. Some strong results, at least for points for the championship, and one more race meeting. Is there anyone you'd like to give a quick shout out to?
Well, as always, the mother who's loved this series, I think, and I think he's Chaz for putting it on for her Tuesday evening entertainment. And just everyone. Well, we're coming to a close, so everyone that's taken part, really. It's been fun racing a lot of them, and hopefully Stevie comes back so I can have some backup this time. Felt alone.
Yeah, I can imagine, mate. I can imagine. Well, either way, thank you very much, Jack. Absolute pleasure as always, buddy, and I look forward to seeing how you get on in the finale in 2 weeks.
Cheers, Chaz. Have a good day.
Cheers. You too. And we will grab one final quick word with Mr. Bailiff, who, to be honest, overshadowed by the incident behind, just disappeared off up the road and won that first race. John, you must be absolutely loving life with that one, because you return to the championship and you win the first race you're in. That was great.
I know. I mean, I wish I'd been able to make the rest of them, because I think it could have been a decent championship. But certainly, no, I was really pleased with how today went. I wasn't expecting a win, but I think when Donny got that slowdown, I saw the opportunity and just then tried to just hit the marks and not get a slowdown.
Well, that's the thing. It's a very, very difficult track to get right. You've got to be so accurate. And in front-wheel drive cars as well, you know, a lot of the adjustments and little sort of minute, detailed inputs that you can make around here really unsettle them, and the car wallows around and it's a bit of a pig and a bit of a washing machine. But, you know, you seem to, like you say, you just hit your marks and you got away with it there. And I agree with you. You know, if it was down to you being in every single race this season, I think you could have had a very, very strong title contention. A bit of bad luck in the season might have tainted you, but to be honest, it's been fantastic to see you back. We go to Barcelona, Catalonia in 2 weeks for the finale. Is that a track that you particularly enjoy? It's going to be another difficult one for sure.
I mean, I don't think it's a track that I've actually driven on iRacing yet, so I think I'm definitely going to have to do a bit of practice of that one.
It isn't easy at all, to be fair. I'd say Imola is a bit more difficult because it's a bit more narrow, but yeah, it's the undulation at Barcelona that's a bit of a nightmare. But either way, mate.
I imagine there's a lot of direction change there as well.
Yes, yeah, there is. It's not one that suits front-wheel drive cars. But then again, when have I been nice to you guys this season and given you a front-wheel drive friendly circuit? I don't think there are any. But it's going to be a good one anyway, mate. And to be honest, I'm really, really pleased for you to get that win on your return to the series. And before we let you go, of course, as you know by now, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout-out to before we end the broadcast?
Just thank you for putting it on, and thanks to anybody else who's tuned in and given me a bit of support.
Cracking stuff. Great to speak to you, John. Thank you very much, mate. And I'll hopefully speak to you again very soon.
Thank you, Chaz. See you in a couple of weeks.
Cheers. There you go. Sprint race winner John Bailiff, everybody. And that will be it for the evening, I'm afraid. It's been a very, very good one. A bit of drama here and there between Jack Johns and Maciej Stakovic. But John Bailiff takes one win. Mats Borg Anderson takes the other. Mark Woodhouse finishes second twice. John Roberts gets 2 top 5s as well. There he is. And strong points for a lot of different drivers in that one, but we have a minute points difference going into the finale between Maciej Stakovic and Jack Johns. It's bound to be an absolute corker of a final race meeting at Barcelona, Catalonia. But for now, that is all we have time for. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you all the drivers for taking part. My name is Chaz Draycott. This has been the Chaz Draycott Media European Touring Car Championship. I'll leave you with this banger, and I will see you in 2 weeks. Have a good night.